Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two dumb Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
You know, I gotta really say, Mike, I feel bad because the other day, I think it was Monday, when something come up and we couldn't do the show, you would put a post up on YouTube just telling everybody that we weren't going to be able to do the show. And I don't recall who it was. I don't recall because I have the retention of a peach. But at one point somebody had wrote on there because you'd said we weren't going to be doing the show Monday. They said probably because Mike destroyed the bathroom.
Yeah,
which I thought was hilarious.
I did too. I laughed so hard.
So while I'm thinking about this, laughing to myself, do you remember a couple years back when Johnny Depp was in court against that Amanda Heard chick or whatever, and he said she dropped a grumpy on his bed?
A grumpy.
Do you remember that? And obviously
it
was a turd they were going at it, and he had said at one point during their relationship she got mad and dropped a grumpy. And I thought about that, and I thought, what the hell, if that's a grumpy, what the hell would it have been that you did to destroy the bathroom for us not to have a show? I'm thinking it would be a fucking angry or a
that's a war crime.
Viciously violent. Anyway, it really did
Left
make me
a naughty.
No, that wasn't a naughty. What you left was not a naughty. It made me laugh. I thought about you leaving a violently angry.
I can't remember if it was Vegas or Tortilla. I think it was either one of those.
Or Corey. I had Corey, Vegas, and Tortilla in my mind, and I couldn't remember which one it was.
I'm going to go look it up because I need to know.
Yeah. Because you dropped the grumpy and fucked up the whole toilet.
Hey, you know, brother, sometimes you got to go. You got to go.
Tortilla says Mike dropping hate crimes in the bathroom.
It was, man. I had the ACLU, every organization you could think of in there.
Yeah.
It was Vegas. It was Vegas.
Was it Vegas?
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is a big episode in sorts, guys, because again, we're just flipping the calendar. We don't do anything. Certainly maybe the 10-year, 5-year years like this, guys. Excuse me, but the two dumb Yinzers guys did flip the calendar over to the 800th show all time, and that puts us in season 8 here on the show. I do want to say thank you to everybody for sticking with us through and through. You guys are freaking awesome. Mike and I were talking about you guys yesterday, just how amazing. I claim that you guys won the MVP or the game ball yesterday on the board, and I stand behind that firmly. I feel that our board is absolutely amazing and such a huge part of this show, and I do want to say thank you and sticking through with us all the way up until 800 episodes and hopefully 800 more beyond and beyond. But thank you anyway, guys. You guys are amazing. We love you. Let's get this show on the road. Episode 800 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Welcome back, everybody on the board. I do want to say good morning to Richard, good morning to John, good morning to Tortilla, and good morning to Aaron. Richard is saying good morning. John says 9 days to go. Tortilla says Mark Kabuli said that Will Howard could be back off IR in 12 days. Translation, Meathead said that Will Howard will be back off IR in 4 weeks. I got something a little bit on him too today. We'll get into that, so hang tight. And then Aaron J. That's right. Here we go. Steelers, baby. We were only, 10? Is it 10 or 9? I don't know. I had it at 10, but John says 9. And
I trust John's math more than yours.
I do too. But again, I sometimes I just don't know how to do math when it comes to days, because do you count the day that you're in? Because it's early in the day. Why wouldn't you count the day that you're in? Or do you count the days besides the day that you're in? Or do you count the days up till the day that you're counting to? Again, these things I don't understand, but that is why I don't do those things often. Let's just talk football. That's something I know, Mike. But any way you slice it, I'm gonna say 9, just because I trust John's math. We're gonna go with 9 days. 9 and wake. Okay, he says 9 and a wake up. That's the official way to go about it.
There we go.
Again, I don't fault me. Right there is my disclaimer. When there's something I'm not quite smart enough to figure out, just refer to the board, guys.
I can't even point to mine. Mine's all weird and stuff.
All right. Once Mike gets all cleaned up here, good morning to Justin Arrington on the board. I do want to say good morning to Justin. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the board. He says, man, I hope Caleb shows better vision than we've seen in preseason. Got hit stick a few times. Regardless, I'm ready. I do expect rust in the first quarter. The Jets, you really just hit home with everything that I ever say, Justin. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, actually. And I have consistently up to this point. We'll talk about that all in just a minute. There was something else. Oh, this is what I do want to say, guys, before we do get started. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, just head down to Pittsburgh. This weekend, Mike, not only is Pitt playing Duquesne at Acrisure Stadium, also the Savannah Bananas. The Savannah Bananas, which is the baseball equivalent of the Harlem Globetrotters, are in town Friday and Saturday, and I don't know who they are, Mike, but the rumors are they have some pretty amazing guests. I don't know what this means, who this can possibly be, but the rumors are around town that they're going to have some pretty amazing guests for the Savannah Bananas baseball game, Mike. I guess they're expecting up to 40,000 people to show up for this. So it's kind of a thing. So you got Pitt and Duquesne on Saturday. You have the Savannah Bananas Friday and Saturday at PNC Park. And then also, if you can't find interest in those things, Mike, you could get out to Rib Fest, which I think anybody can find interest in Rib Fest. So a lot of things going on in the Berg this weekend. If you're looking for something to do, looking to get out of the house, get downtown and check something out. There's a lot going on, guys. But Mike, this is, again, the new season of the show and coming on the doorstep of the new season of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's here, baby. It's on like Donkey Kong. I want to say good morning to Christophus, man. Always great seeing you on the board, sir. Christophus says we have so many red zone threats. DK, John, Friarmuth, Mount Washington, etc. I believe we're going to average 30 points a game. You know what? I hope you're right. I hope you're right. John says the bad news is that the first 4 games are the preseason. The good news is that all of the other 31 teams are in the same situation. Absolutely. So let's get into it, guys. A lot of things. Again, 9 days in a sleep, I think is the way that John put it. 9 days in a wake up. So here we are, guys. I'm gonna stick with 10 just because that's what I have on my paper. And if I go away from what I have, Mike, who knows what's gonna come out of my head?
Oh, I know. You have to have it written down.
I do.
Oh God.
So, Mike, let's get into things today. The Pittsburgh Steelers, more action, more movement, a lot of things going on, Mike. Of course, they did fill their practice squad up, and this tells you that they were happy with what they seen in training camp because everybody was basically back that they released the day before. As a matter of fact, before we even got off the air yesterday, a couple of the guys, BD Bishop and Leal, I think, were walking on the practice field in their practice uniforms already. So this is nothing that he didn't know behind closed doors from the day prior, Mike, but they built their practice squad. They took 16 guys that they had cut the previous day. They put their practice squad together, Mike. And then there's been more action this morning, moving people around and getting people on the active squad. Somebody that I mentioned yesterday that I'm glad is back on the active, Mike. We'll get to him in just a second. I'm going to pull up, if I can, my list of the practice squad folks. We'll go over that first today just to kind of get the show started and underway because that's kind of where we left off yesterday. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to grab Tortilla real quick. He says, we're 9-12 packs away. Yeah, that's not going to complicate things and make it easier for me, but thank you, Tortilla.
Throw more numbers at them.
By all means. It's like first period math. You know how your brain is just so ready to go at first thing in the morning. That's where my brain lie right now, guys. So this be the list. What's up, Jamal?
Jamal, I love it.
Always love seeing Jamal on the board. Good morning, my brother from another color. I love it, my man. Great seeing you, sir, as always. Guys, let's get into the 16 signings. Back to the practice squad as of yesterday. Just simply where we left off. We're going to go seamlessly right into it, Mike. This is the players on the practice squad. I'll give a little bit of an opinion, Mike. Maybe give a second opinion. We'll get through this list, and then we'll really get into it. Right at the top, Mike, it just goes by position. Running backs, they have Lou Nichols and Trey Sermon, which I liked both of these guys in the preseason. I'm going to be honest with you. I seen something in Lou Nichols. This guy has vision of the field. You could say, you know what, he played a lot of late second and third string guys, and he did. It's true. But the fact of the matter is he had, out of the running backs that I've seen, the best vision. He was able to find the lanes. He was able to find open spaces when he got into an open field. So I like Lou Nichols. I like Trey Sermon. I thought that guy ran hard, Mike. Neither one of these guys that I want to see go. Neither one of these guys do I want to see in our lineup either. I'm kind of happy with where Lou Nichols and Trey Sermon landed.
Me too. Sermon's been bounced around the NFL for a while now. Lou Nichols was drafted last year, 7th round pick. So I think like in a pinch, if like one of the top 3 guys goes down, these guys can come in and they can fill a role into the offense. I don't think they're going to be every down guys, like you said, but nice guys to come in when needed. If someone's banged up, I like it. I'm glad we got them both.
Mike, let's get into the wide receivers. We have 3 of them that we did sign to the practice squad yesterday from the gentlemen that were cut the day before. Again, they must have really been satisfied with their camp, Mike, and I think that I was too. I mean, ultimately, there was some things that I think that I would have liked to see more, but at the end of the day, I was satisfied for the most part. And again, this list here tells you that the Steelers were as well, basically building their entire practice squad from the bottom up from guys that they had just released the day before, Mike. Let's get into the wide receivers. Max Hurlman, again, I'm sure this young kid has talent. He can surely do a backflip, but again, I wasn't missing Max Hurlman. Mike, he is my first wide receiver. There's 3 altogether. Number 2 is Keshawn Williams, who I thought looked good.
I like him.
I thought Keshawn Williams looked good and impressive, and I think he could fill in a pinch, Mike, as you were saying about the running backs. And finally, Robert Woods. Robert Woods, Mike, is a guy that, again, he's just that guy on the 6th wide receiver in the carousel that's either Van Jefferson or who. One more time.
You always forget
I never remember Allen Robinson. But those 3 guys are all the same guy to me. They're all interchangeable. They all basically are going to give you the same results. Mike, Max Hurlman, Keshawn Williams, and Robert Woods.
I like Hurlman. I can see why they kept him on the roster. He can play running back, he can play wide receiver, he can do a couple different things. Keshawn Williams, when we signed him after the draft, I'm like, really another little short receiver. Then I watched him play, and like, okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. There's something here with him. He can be a fringe roster guy. I like it. And then Robert Woods, I like a dependable veteran who's not taking up an active roster spot.
Mike, is there anybody these first 5 names that we went through that you just don't have any interest at all, or are you satisfied so far?
Satisfied with them, yeah. And and these guys are easy to get rid of. If you don't like what you're seeing in practice from them, they're gone. If you see someone better, easy to pick someone up off the street. But the Keshawn Williams is the one I really, really love. I think
I'm glad we didn't lose him.
I think there's something there with that guy. I don't ever think he's going to be a big time number 2, number 1, but the fringe 3 and 4 who can contribute in the offense. There's something there with him.
Them are the guys that work their way up, though. The guys that you really see something early on like this. Antonio Brown's right out the cut was not the best receiver in the NFL. So again, Mike, Keshawn Williams is somebody that I think you should keep an eye on as well.
And Robert Woods, I like that as the veteran aspect too, to help because we have a lot of young guys. to have him mentor them and not take up an active roster spot, I like that.
I would rather have a wide receiver too that could mentor them that isn't on a rush. But anyway, that's beside the point, guys. I do want to say this as well. Just like every day leading up to the season, guys, we do have live real-time updates. Mike will be keeping his eye on up to the date, up to the minute, real-time news reports or anything that happens with the Steelers within the next couple of hours while we are here on the air. So if there's anything that happens, you will be the first to know. Mike will get it and get it straight out to you. Mike is on top of that. Mike, thank you for that. That's a great asset. So let's continue, Mike. The tight end position. JJ Galbraith is the one tight end that's on this list. Like we needed any more tight ends, but you know what? People seem to like this guy. You know what? For what it is, he is on the practice squad. He's the 94th tight end. I'm cool with it.
He's our 4th tight end.
Yeah.
Ryan's like, that's 4 too many.
All right. So, Mike, nothing with that. We're going to go on to the offensive linemen, Dylan Cook and Stephen Jones. Dylan Cook and Stephen Jones, Mike, are signed back to the practice squad after being released.
Mm-hmm.
Any take? I know that Dylan Cook's name did come up a couple of times. I think even maybe Jen on the board did mention that the other day, Mike. But Dylan Cook and Stephen Jones.
I'm okay with those guys. I like Dylan Cook. He's another one of those guys in a pinch could play. I think he played a little bit last year, maybe the year before. But our tackle depth now is so much better.
Yeah.
Than Dylan Cook. Practice squad right now is perfect spot for me on the Steelers on the practice squad. But like I said, if we get down to him at that point, our line may be burnt and toast at that point. Serviceable backup, but no.
Mike, so now we got to go over to the defensive side of the ball. That is the offensive players on the practice squad. The defense looks like this. We're going to start on the defensive line. One defensive tackle side of the practice squad, Mike Kyler Ball. I
got nothing. I got nothing.
Yeah. If they like him, I'm cool with it.
Right? I got nothing for the kid.
Mike, this one is a big name. DeMarvin Leal, of course, the defensive end. Kind of a big thing made when he was cut just because of what he was. He's been on this team for quite a few seasons now. And people kind of been hoping that he could take that next step, Mike. And maybe this is a good place for him because there's something you do see in DeMarvin Leal, but he's having such a hard time taking that step. So he's kind of he kind of falls in that gray area for me. So I do not mind DeMarvin Leal being on the practice squad because, again, I like him. I didn't want to see him go. But at the end of the day, you kind of seen what his potential is so far. Yeah. Mike, practice squad, I'm totally fine with DeMarvin Leal being on our practice squad.
Me too, because he's that tweener guy, can play outside a little bit, can play D-line a little bit, and we have no outside linebackers on this practice squad. So I think for what we have right now, this is perfect for him and perfect for the team, unless, you start seeing some outside linebackers that can play in the 3-4 get cut, then I can see Leal being cut. But right now, I like it right here.
All right. Any linebackers, Mike? We have one linebacker on this list, Julius Westkoff. He is the outside linebacker that did make the practice squad.
Oh, yes, he is. My apologies. I did not see him there. I apologize.
What's that?
I did not see Westkoff before I gave my analysis of Leal.
Oh, okay. That's cool. And then, Mike, then we drop back to the corners, which I think are some interesting names as well, guys, on this list of cornerbacks. There's 3 of them that did come back to the practice squad from being cut the day prior, Mike. Beanie Bishop is the one player that I think that a lot of people really felt would land on this practice squad if he wasn't grabbed off of waivers. And that kind of relates into something that I do want to get into, but I'm not going to do it right this second. Beanie Bishop, James Pierre, Mike, a player that we kind of predicted he was going to be on the outside looking in when all said and done. You know what? If he's practice squad, I'm fine with that too, because, if this guy has to play, he knows the defense. He might not have the abilities that you want at that position, but Mike, he's been in this defense for quite a few years now. He's familiar with it. And, if injuries happen, having somebody like him opposed to go out and just trying to find the best free agent, I think it would be more beneficial to have a guy like this in the system because, again, he's been there, done that, knows it. And, he's played with these guys now that he's playing with in the secondary since all preseason, all training camp. I'm okay with James Pierre sticking around, Mike.
Me too. And, if someone gets hurt on special teams, you can activate him for that because he's still a decent gunner out there. I'm not thrilled, but I'm okay with him being on the practice squad, like you said.
And then there's one other name like Deshaun Jameson. Deshaun Jameson is the third cornerback that did make the practice squad. So now we're down to two safeties, Mike. The two safeties that did make the practice squad are Sebastian Castro, which this young man, I think I was not blown away, but I thought that he looked good in the preseason. The guy's a hitter. I was impressed with what I seen from him. So Sebastian Castro and Daryl Porter Jr. was another one. Laid a nice lick on a guy in preseason. Didn't really show you enough that would make you want to put him on your active roster. But Mike, at the end of the day, Daryl Porter, Sebastian Castro coming back. I like these two as well.
I like them too as well. Yeah, two developmental guys on there. I like it.
So that is our 16 signings yesterday, Mike. And there are some other things going on with the roster here. So what's happening, Mike, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong at any point, but this is what I'm understanding. So Will Howard and Dante Kent, they're being put on the IR to make some moves and just allow some room to make some moves. All right, so with that being said, them going to IR allows Chucky Clark, who I like, the safety that we brought over, the ex-Raven. He's a little bit of a hammer, a little bit of a hawk also back there. Mike, I liked him. And Max Sharping. Max Sharping is also another nice piece, Mike, I think, to have in your, on your 53 man in case you do need. And so Chucky Clark and Max Sharping are going to be resigned to the active roster. Now, here's from what I understand is going to happen with those IR guys, talking about Will Howard and Dante Kent. Like they must miss the first 4 weeks. After that, the 21-day window can be opened by each at any time the team wants to. Barring injuries at the quarterback and cornerback room, those two are not likely to have those open until a lot later. So that's kind of they made this move obviously to be able to maneuver what they want to do around Mike. Also they expect Christian Kuntz to be back soon. So they're leaving wiggle room. There's definitely making moves within now, taking guys, putting them here, practice squad out in. And again, like Chucky Clark, I like this. I like Chuck Clark.
Oh yeah.
And then again, Max Sharping, Mike, it's a nice piece, a nice depth piece. Did everything I say just sound accurate?
Yeah, because the Will Howard, Dante Kent, they don't count against the designated to return list because they waited till Wednesday to do it. So a lot of administrative work.
Continue. I'm going to step away for just 1 second.
Yeah, so it was like administrative work. That's why it took a while for them to show up on that list. I don't know why they brought back Max Sharping. That's the one that's confusing me. You got a lot of O-line depth, and now we have a lot more O-line depth. Are they worried with the way McCormick has been playing? Are they worried the way Samala's been playing? Why we have a backup at every position at O-line? That's it. That was my only head scratcher, was bringing back Max Sharping. But hey, maybe are they going to use him in a trade piece to get the to get the ever elusive wide receiver too? No, I just don't know what's going on with that move. That's my big head scratcher right there of the whole roster. And Dante Kent, I don't know if they're going to move him to the practice squad later in the year. I don't know why, because I don't see a spot for him to go on to the active roster, and I don't know if they're going to waste a whole year of his development, like moving him to the full IR. So we'll wait and see from there. My God, you guys got a lot of comments today. I love it. Once Ryan gets back, well, sure we'll be going back through those. Oh, there he is. He's back.
All right. What up, everybody?
What up?
All right, so Mike, you talked about that a little bit. I like Chucky Clark, Mike. I like these moves. I was just stepping out of the room. I had to handle something while you were talking about Max Sharping. You're not too thrilled. You didn't.
I just don't see it, man. We have Spencer Anderson and Andrews Pete, who can play guard. Kelvin Anderson Pete, who can play tackle. Ryan McCollum, who can play center. I just don't. To me, that was just a head scratcher. I don't know if that's a signal to they're disappointed in one of the other three guards, or they really like this guy. So that's the only really move I'm really confused by.
I do want to say just a couple updates also in case we are thinking, well, why don't we go after, this guy, the Dalton Risner, Mike. He did sign Dalton Risner, the offensive guard. Yeah. He signed with Cincinnati opting not to visit Pittsburgh, Mike. So that is an option also on the offensive line that is off the table. I did want to throw that out there as well. And then also around the league, Mike, Adam Thielen, he was never on our radar, but he is a receiver that is on the move as well. At the last moment, Mike, he's going back to Minnesota. So Adam Thielen back to Minnesota. And again, Dalton Risner, the offensive guard, is going to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think Risner waltzes in that building and right to a starting spot. Their line is so bad. So, like, I know online a lot of Steeler fans were wanting to get this guy, but when you have an opportunity to start or be a backup, you're going to go be a starter.
Let's get back into the board, man. There's a lot of good messages. We're going to get on it right about now. I'm going to go right here. I think this is where we are. If we're not, we'll figure it out on the run. Tortilla Jackson said, much better than our practice squad running backs last year.
Oh, God, yes.
I like the practice squad. Again, every name that we just went over, Mike, and again, the Steelers are happy with what they've seen in preseason. So, let's check it out and see what we got here. RB, my man, what's up, brother? Always great seeing you on the board, RB. He says the NFL GM talent has gone to shit. Looking around the league, GMs have no balls, and it's like the teams find their place in the hierarchy of the league and don't move for years and years and years. John says the practice squad guys aren't new meat. They know the team and vice versa. That is an advantage for later. RB says everyone for 10 to 12 years now just signs their own trash to fill out the practice squad. Complacency at its best. No desire to improve. Just stick with what's comfortable. Forget trying to find a gem. Tortilla says at RB, the GMs aren't dumb. They know what they should do. They just don't, and that could possibly be worse than being too dumb to know. And then RB replies. He says, Tortilla, they might not be dumb, but they have no balls. They do enough to not be fired. Too scared to take chances. And then Tortilla follows that up by saying, to be fair, though it's easier to have guys who know the schemes than bringing in a bunch of players that you have to restart with. Yeah, I mean, depending on where you're coming from, it's not. I don't think either of you are wrong. Christopher says when Caleb gets rid of his sea legs, Jalen will go back to number 2. You know what? I hope we see something in that Caleb Johnson that I didn't see in the preseason, guys. Because again, I don't follow Iowa. I'm not a Big Ten guy. I just got the highlights and what everybody tells me. And I got to be honest with you guys. What I seen in preseason, I thought that we should have seen a little bit better from Caleb Johnson. Again, a lot of times you're playing a bunch of nobodies, and if this guy is expected to have a big role in this team's offense for 17 games, 18 weeks total in the season, and possibly more into the postseason come January, I would have liked to have felt a little bit more confident with Caleb Johnson personally. From anything that I would have seen in preseason. At the end of preseason, I got to admit, there was about 3 runs that he did have in that last game against Carolina that made it look like he was going to be, like he had pretty good skills in what I was hearing. But again, everything else, Mike, that I seen, I wasn't impressed. I wanted to be impressed at some capacity, just like you want to be impressed with everybody that you watch. Yeah. And Y.A. Black, I was impressed. Derek Harmon, I was impressed. Carson Bruner, I was impressed. I just couldn't find it within me to be impressed with what I seen in Caleb. He had 3 games against people that aren't going to be starters in the NFL. That's what kind of worries me. I'm hoping that everybody's right on this Caleb Johnson thing, because again, Mike, at the end of the day, we all figured this in to be big part of the offense moving forward and kind of turning into what Jaylen Warren and Najee were prior to this season.
Yeah, I have a bit more faith than you in him. I saw definitely in that third game, he was getting more and more confident in what the line was showing him, and he was able to find his spots and wiggle forward. We'll find out in 9 days in a wake up.
9 days in a wake up. You know
9 days in a wake up, baby.
I'm never ever going to go by anything other than that count anymore, Mike. With the wake up.
That's the new 10 to 12 days.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that one yet. All right, let's move on the board.
Yeah.
Let's see. So RB says it's the practice squad. It's not a starter. You guys, you aren't doing your job by keeping guys who don't cut it already, and not taking a look at something new. Again, these are just different approaches. I don't think either of you guys are wrong. You guys are just looking at it from 2 different angles, I think. Tortilla says at RB, I agree. GMs are scared to lose their jobs. It's an average of like 3 years per GM. and the ones that make it big and lose scares all the other GMs. RB says, believe you can find something in a real talent rather than be comfortable with something. So again, yeah, I mean, it's just a what's your how do you tackle the situation? How do you do the job as GM? You guys, I don't think again either of you are wrong, but you could probably go about this all day back and forth with one another. That being said, Tortilla says the practice squad is one game away from from starting. You know what? You're right, and that's one thing that concerns me about this team. Like, and one thing that I certainly did pay attention to the whole way through this is how the depth is going to look, because again, everybody, backups, guys in the practice squad, you could potentially be one play away from being in there and starting an NFL football game. So, Wes, what's up, brother? Always great seeing Wes Hatchet on the board. Welcome, man. We're down to 9 days in a wake up. What is it? 9 days in a wake.
9 days in a wake up.
RB said there are guys on this list you 100% know who can't cut it in the NFL, where there are 50, 60 guys who had real NFL skills who are scared to take a chance on. Tortilla says if you get players that are good enough to make the 53, they probably will be stolen from us, or we never get a chance to sign them. Plus, players that are too good probably don't want to be on a practice squad. And then RB says, are you admitting my coach has no chance to tap this talent? Oh, man. Also, Mike, I do have today, I have the list of the top wide receiver options heading into this last day in a wake. Before the Pittsburgh Steelers do kick off their season, we'll get into that list in just a second, Mike, as that list continues to get smaller and smaller as days go on. Of course, Juan Valdez-Scantling, that was the talk early in the week, and he gets picked up. And also, the whole way through, Mike, every team is grabbing guys. We're not. But anyway, we'll get into that in just a moment here. John says less than 3% of the players cut from all the teams make it to another roster. The analytics and research are much better now. It's a $1 billion industry business. with not much room for nut cutting. RB says, John, that's 100% not scouting. 80% of the cut players hit waivers. Teams are scared to take a chance or ruffle feathers. Each team now has a 3 to 4 protected practice squad spots as well, so they can't be poached. Following that up with saying, if scouting and analytics are so great, explain how Kenny Pickett was the first round pick when he was absolutely an afterthought until his fifth. And then says season. Okay, his fifth season and the 4 before he sucked ass. Jamal says, how do you guys feel about Logan Lee? You know what? Logan Lee to me was just a depth piece on the defensive line until he stepped up and played the long snapper when he had to.
He's your favorite player now.
What's that?
I was making a joke. I was like, he's your favorite player now.
So, as far as the depth piece on the defensive line, I like that. I think that he is what he is, but like I said, I think his versatility and his the way that he was able to step up and seamlessly. Again, it wasn't perfect by any means, but the way he was able to step up and become the long snapper in a game situation, you gotta like that. Again, if anything, Mike, I like him for that reason.
Yeah, I want to see him in game action. I really didn't see a whole lot of him in the preseason. I want to see what he does now. To start the season, because right now he's listed on the depth chart as the number 2 DN behind I forget who it was, but right behind Derek Harmon, so he might be starting unless they move Wyatt Black over there because they haven't updated the depth chart yet. But I'm interested to see what he can do as a DN because they got him from Iowa last year. He was hurt last year, surprise, a rookie hurt out for the year. So I'm intrigued by him. He looks like he should be a player.
And
he has that look.
He's my new favorite player, apparently.
He is.
Tortilla says Sharpen probably a special teams lineman or depth. Yeah, that's again, and this may change many times in the next 9 days in a wake. Yeah. So we'll certainly keep an eye on all those moves as well. RB said there's nothing to scratch your head at this point. A wide receiver move is not coming, at least till the deadline. It's kind of obvious at this point. Mark Malone, what's up, man? Always great to see Mark Malone on the board. Mark Malone says, I think the McCollum and Calvin Anderson are still backed up.
I think that's the reason, or why they brought in that guard who I already forgot his name.
Yeah.
Shippensburg.
Tortilla says they want to see if Roman can be something. You know what? Roman is such an X factor in the season, guys. He really is. Again, if I always got to kind of start this thought process out with, let's just say DK goes down for a long period of time. And then you want to look at your wide receiver room, look down the list and say, all right, here's my 1 and my number 2. My Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson are 1 and 2. Your 3 and 4 become Scotty Miller and Ben Skoranek. And then whatever you do, Robert Woods probably would become your number 5. I don't know. It really, a lot comes down to Roman Wilson. If he can step up and become a quality starting type wide receiver, like we all hope and wish that he will be, Mike. But at the end of the day, once you you remove, the DK is just a man made of muscles.
Yeah.
An injury to a guy like this is pretty common. Something, like us, I mean, we don't even have these muscles that this guy has. I can't pull what I don't have. And that's one thing that worries me about guys like him is these guys are very prone to injury when you have this physique for whatever reason, Mike. So again, I always got to look, I personally, I look at it that way. Take him out with an injury and then look at your wide receiver room and ask yourself, am I satisfied? Do I think that we can continue to thrive in this team built to make a run into the playoffs with that particular wide receiver room? I have the highest paid defense in the league. I have the a lot of good things going, but this wide receiver room without DK Metcalf scares the hell out of me, and that's why I went on and on and on and on and on and on and on about wide receiver 2 throughout the offseason. Mike.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and from that way, if DK goes down, like, oh shit, we're screwed out there without like another guy that has close to that level of production that we've seen in the NFL. Roman Wilson could be a guy that can, consistently get you 800 yards a year. But right now we don't know that. That's the big unknown. And that's why, a lot of us want to get a viable name who has shown that history.
Right.
Yeah. And I have no problem. Like, hey, this is why we drafted him. We want to go out there and see what he has. But, with all the other roster moves we made, I'm starting to lean towards the camp of let's go get another guy who has a high level NFL of success, a proven track record, instead of going, on potential. Like last year, I had no problem riding with that potential just because the way the roster was constructed. But now, I'm starting to get itchy. I'm starting to swing back over to your side a little bit, but I also still have a foot in the camp of let's see what he has.
Which we have no issues with.
Calvin Austin has, yeah. Yeah,
but
so I get where you're coming 100%, but I still, like I said, I'm leaning that way.
Let me ask you this: say we're going into the Buffalo game.
Mm-hmm.
We just finished up the game. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Yeah.
And we just played whoever we played before Buffalo. DK Metcalf goes down. They're saying maybe 4 to 6 weeks, whatever the injury may be. Now you're going into the Buffalo game again. Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek, Robert Woods. And you might say, well, maybe, Austin, he looked nice to this point. Maybe he could do something. Maybe Roman could carry the weight.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's good, all good for us. But what about Buffalo? They come up to the, they go to the war room. They sit down. They start looking at tape. And they say, this is the 2 best receivers they have. You know what I mean? So now you prepare for the lesser. You prepare for a 3 and a 4, or maybe even 2 and a 3, if you want to call it that. And we are becoming that more beatable, in my opinion. And again, that's why I would just love to have somebody, as you mentioned, that has been in the league. Somebody of these names that we've been talking about, certainly for quite some time now, Mike. So again, that's kind of where I came. It's a long season. And again, you lose a guy for 4 to 6 weeks and you have to go out and grab a free agent who has no job, who isn't on a team in the NFL to begin with. And you have to, hope that this guy could come in and be productive enough to fill these holes. Mike, it would make me feel a lot more confident as a person, as a human being, if they could just go out and Gabe Davis, whatever. Again, I do have the list here in front of me, Mike. We're going to get in that in just a second, but just something. I just need it to make me feel better.
Exactly. Yeah. I know what you mean. And at that point though, too, if Wilson and Calvin Austin were showing out at that point, being like, oh God, guys are starting to have the game plan for him, it would lessen the blow, but it would still be a blow. Cause now you're like, okay, now, how much of it was influenced by DK? at that point if he would go down and lose their production because the guys are getting shifted over to him. And I get what you're saying. And the guys out there now, they're not bona fide number ones. They're maybe like some of the guys out there now are pretty good number twos, but right now you're looking at like high threes.
I always feel like
so
this.
Then you're starting to get into that area where you're getting everyone who has a comparable skill level to the guys we have, but they're coming from outside, and therefore we're seeing them as somehow better.
I always look at it this way: you want to put yourself in the best possible position you can to win.
Yeah.
And if that means grabbing this guy again, I don't know I don't know why the dragging of the feet. Again, 2 seasons we're dealing with this. We thought we had the resolve when they brought DK over and we had GP and DK. We thought we had the resolve. But again, here we are dragging our feet at the last minute. Well, we could get this guy. This guy's a rumor. We'll have this guy in and talk to him, but he's going to go talk to his former team. Again, I just don't get, especially of how aggressive this team and GM has been over the past couple seasons. But, I guess we'll learn as we go, Mike. But let's get back on the board. A lot of stuff going on the board today. John says, RB, it depends on the teams. I mentioned yesterday that the Chiefs and the Eagles do real well at scouting, hence their Super Bowl appearances the past few years. Tomlin can't scout. It shows. John follows it up by saying the Eagles and KC both have kick-ass Ds with a very low cost because of scouting. Mark Malone, Johnson will rush for about 1,200. John, I love your Mark, I love your optimism. I really do. I really do. Maybe we could get Mason back in and have him get that 4,500-yard passing that you called in the offseason, and we'll get 1,200 from Johnson.
Mark's optimism, your pessimism, somewhere in the middle, we're going to find reality.
We're going to find reality.
And who's going to be standing there is John, right in the middle.
I know.
Together.
I know. Speaking of Caleb, our moderator, Caleb, remember last time he popped in and I asked him about that in the NBA final? He's out in Indiana because the Pacers lost in the finals. Yeah. Did you notice he comes on until I bring up the Pacers and then we don't see him for like a month?
Yeah. I told you that after the show. Like, dude, the minute you brought up the Pacers, he bounced.
Maybe I should stop bringing up the Pacers.
You should stop bringing up the Pacers every time Caleb comes. Like, he just.
And it's like the first thing I say. I'm like, Caleb, Indiana Pacers.
Just gets over this trauma, and you keep bringing it up.
I know. It's like somebody keep bringing up the Green Bay Super Bowl after it happened. I get it. I really do. I apologize, Caleb. RB says Tomlin could be a great coach if he realized to stop worrying about X's and O's and Jimmy and Joe's and just worry about coaching the game and motivating guys. His ego won't allow that.
Jimmy's and Joe's. I like that saying.
I like that too. Christopher says, like it or not, Roman Wilson is running wide receiver 2. Would that be? I guess. He is like a young Hines Ward. We're going to love him. Steeler. You know what? I hope you're right. And I hope you're right. His size scares the shit out of me. He's more comparable to Calvin Austin by size, though. And again, if this is your wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2, if that be the case, that again is something that kind of worries me, Mike. But I hope Christophus is right. And you know what? And I kind of myself during off season kept thinking that Roman Wilson will be a big part of this team. Yeah. So I hope that does play out that way. We certainly need it. There's nothing about this wide receiver room right now that has me thrilled. I love the fact that we have the 4th highest paid wide receiver in the league, something that the Steelers generally don't have going on. Okay, that's fun. That's interesting. It's new. But beyond that, again, like I said, it turns into for me personally, it kind of turned into a JV room. And again, playing in the NFL, the highest possible competition against the best possible players across from you. I just don't know how well that plays in a team that you throw together to try to make a run. Again, that's where I lie with the wide receivers.
Aaron Rodgers he thinks rather highly of Roman Wilson, and that's why he's been hard on him all training camp. So maybe he sees something in him, so maybe he can get it out of him this year.
That's the thing. I mean, a lot of people do see something in him. A lot of people do say the same thing that Christopher says, and he does correct himself. He was talking about wide receiver too. But that's something that you just hope plays out. And things really haven't been playing out those ways that we wanted them to over the past few years, and especially with injuries, Mike. Again, these little guys, Roman and Calvin. We're depending on them too. Again, if they end up being 1 and 2, these are two guys that had a very difficult time staying on the field in their first couple seasons. Of course, Calvin Austin missing his entire first season, Roman missing his entire first season.
Yeah.
Calvin's been banged up, a number of times since then. So those are the concerns for me. Again, I would love to have just another set of reliable, viable veteran hands. Again, in the list of Gabe Davis and guys like that, we're going to get into that in just a second, Mike, when I get caught up on the board.
Yep.
But again, that's just, again, it's me. I just a me thing. I would feel a lot more comfortable with those extra set of hands. Wes says this. Did we move Trice to IR? Mike, did that happen yet? I know that was the plan. That's
yeah. He's on the temporary IR, so he was designated to return IR.
All right, so that did happen, Wes. He is to the yes. What Mike just said. Tortilla says Tomlin can draft, just not good at drafting certain positions. Like he can't draft DB, but he can draft wide receiver and edge rusher. John says RB, the GM and the owner of the Eagles, put Nick S in that role, and they started winning. And you know what? The Eagles are the youngest team in the league now, Mike.
Yeah.
After the latest, the cut downs, youngest team in the league. So, what we're doing, we're trying to follow their mold, but we're on the opposite end of the spectrum. We are the second to oldest team in the league.
Yeah. I have a feeling in the next 3 years, it's going to swing the other way for us. We're going to get a lot younger.
I think eventually it has to, but
you would think all
Mike,
these guys
they are building their team greatly through the draft. The Eagles, their drafts have been beautiful over the past 2 to 3 seasons, Mike, and they're able to build a lot through these younger guys. We're trying something different. We are bringing in free agents and things like this. So, I think that's where the different be.
And I think coming up to like this year, we're going to have 12, 13 picks. I look for every single one of those picks to be used and the team to get younger and younger. Now that they have built the team and then they got the foundation rebuilt. Now they can keep getting the young talent in and developing when the old talent goes out, the way the Steelers used to do it, the way, we used to let guys go that had a year or two left in the tank. Like, no, you're gone. Because guess what? We got your replacement sitting behind you. And guess what? We got their replacement sitting behind them ready to go. I think we're getting back into that mold.
We got to get back. We have to.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. Okay, right here, I'm going to jump over because Christophus was saying about the wide receiver. So RB says this. Hold on, is that where we're? Yeah, that's where we're at. RB says John, 100%. A head coach needs to be a head coach, not game plan for offense and defense both. Want to call plays and then also want a huge say in the roster. Just shut up and motivate the guys. The guys let others. Yeah, you're right. Hey, what's up, Kenneth? Always great seeing Kenneth Jones on the board. Kenneth, we are 9 days in a wake up away from the first Steeler game. 9 days in a wake up. You know what? It makes sense.
Every time you see someone new on the board now, you
have to tell them.
It's 9 days in a wake up.
RB says do their job. Okay, I think he was referring to his last text.
Yeah.
Aaron says, my man, he says 20-0, easy Super Bowl this year. You know what? That would be fantastic. Could you imagine, man? See, I don't think it's out of the question for this team to get to the AFC Championship game. I really don't. Of course, depending on a few of those X factors, Mike, there are a few pretty big X factors along the way here. And if those things work out, again, Caleb Johnson has to, he has to come along. The quarterback, our 42-year-old quarterback, he can't be a 42-year-old quarterback. He has to show you something from his former self as far as a player. And again, the wide receiver position, Mike. So all these skill players on offense, if everything works out, I don't think an AFC Championship game is out of the question. I really don't, because that's if everything works out.
Yeah, if everything works. Hey, we are, one break away, according to Fox Sports.
According to Fox Sports, we were one break away. Mark Malone says you bastards are skirting the lines here. Jinx season starts in 2 days.
We got to get it out of our system.
John says, I believe they must pay for the innovative ACs regardless if they get picked up later for a head coaching job. Artie Smith isn't the guy to find or develop their future quarterback. They're wasting their time with their ACs. Tortilla says the OCs and DCs are just cheerleaders. RB says, Ryan, the counterpoint is to that. How many defenses are built to stop the run, stop 3 tight ends, 4 solid wide receivers? I get that you're worried about DK going down, but adding a $20 million wide receiver changes. He says, "What do you want to be? Because you can't have a $20 million guy per insurance." You're right. I mean, we're really banking on this Artie Smith offense being something special, and we're really banking on somebody's not going to be able to cover 3 tight ends. Which again, you have 17 weeks to figure it out. That's my problem. If this is what we're coming down to, we're riding the Arthur Smith game plan into the season. You know, and that's one of our big positives. There's teams that are going to figure it out too. There's good teams. When you run into Buffalo mid-season, is there going to be enough tape for them to sit back and say, "Oh, this is all we have to do. We just have to make this adjustment because they're playing 3 tight ends." That's another X factor. Like the Arthur Smith offense for me. Other people do feel comfortable with it. I still have to see more.
I have to see more, but I liked what I saw in the preseason of how the offense was moving and the way he was calling plays and using the run to set up the pass, using the pass to set up the run. I like it. And the different formations,
like
guys lining up in different
things
spots.
that they should be doing anyway as a football team.
I liked it. I liked it.
All right, so we're okay. Coasterholics did say this. No, you're not wrong, Mike. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying these are things that teams should be doing anyway. And the fact that it's taking us this long to get back to this point.
Well, shit, man. We got to wash away 2.5 years of Matt Canada stank offer junk.
Yeah, it's Coasterholics. What's up, man? It's great to see Coasterholics on the board. Coasterholics says they said they're comfortable with this wide receiver room. There's no way they're comfortable with it. You have number 1 and number 3. I agree. It just doesn't make sense. Yes, you could twist and turn and make it sound nice, I guess, and spray a little perfume on it and hope that it doesn't stink. But at the end of the day, it's off. It's off. There's a reason why things are the way that they are. There's a reason why 31 teams has 2 wide receivers. It works in the league.
Buffalo Bills have a wide receiving core consisted of nothing but a number 2 and a lot of number 3s.
Hey, once we get into the AFC Championship game, we'll start comparing ourselves with them. Again,
just say it. Just say it.
When you have an Allen, the dynamic changes. We don't have a Josh Allen, so there's things that we can't do that other teams can do. Like when we had Ben, we were able to do things that teams that didn't have Ben could do. So you couldn't compare teams with the Pittsburgh Steelers at that particular time. But again, point taken, Mike. Let me do stay on the board, though. We don't want to get too far behind because I do have some things that we're going to get into here shortly. Tortilla says Steelers are just the NFL's side chick. John says it is tied to Arthur Smith's schemes. A wide receiver 2 isn't that important to him. That is why GP wanted out. He knew he wouldn't get fed for the bank. That's why we need somebody. And that's why you kind of want somebody like a Roman Wilson to work out, because if he does remind you of a Hines Ward, maybe he'll be loyal like a Hines Ward as well. And that could be something greatly beneficial to us moving forward. But again, he falls into one of the X factors for me heading into the season. Unfortunately, all the X factors land on the offensive side of the ball for me again, Mike. And again, if everything goes right, I think the AFC Championship game is certainly within this team's reach. If those 4 X factors all go well, the wide receiver, the quarterback, the rookie running back, and the Arthur Smith offense, those 4 all have to work together to create success. And if they do, I think that, we have as good a chance as anybody else out there. Tortilla says Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin should wear flak jackets.
The flak jackets might be bigger than them.
I know. Is there flak jackets big enough or small enough to fit them guys?
Get my kid's life vest that he wore to the water park. That might be small enough for those guys.
Mm-hmm. Your shit that you blew the bathroom up with is bigger than these guys. These are little guys. They're little guys. What did they say yesterday? 165 pounds on Calvin Austin. I weighed more than that in junior high. I truly, honestly did. And I wasn't a big kid. RB says, Wilson looks like an average NFL player next to Austin. He isn't that smaller than average, but he looks like T. Higgins next to Austin. And another thing about these guys, though, RB, they just have such a hard time staying on the field. The injuries with these 2, that's got to be a concern. Unless we just think that all of a sudden the injuries are going to stop for the Steelers, which that hasn't been the case for at least 5 years. I mean, they've been piling and piling. And we got to hope that these 2 guys are, 150 pounds, can stay healthy in the NFL. Again, I want this team to win. I'm going to be right with you guys, waving my terrible towel. But these things just kind of stick. They're sticking me in the side a little bit here. Tortilla says that Coaster, is our GM supposed to say he's not comfortable with the wide receivers? And that's definitely something we don't want to hear. Could you imagine if Elmore Khan come out and told us that he wasn't comfortable with this team? I'm not really comfortable with what I did.
This team sucks.
Enjoy.
I fucked up, guys.
Enjoy. I'll see you in April. RB says people say Hill is small, but works. Hill is 5'9", 190. Austin's 5'7", 160. That is it is a huge difference. 30 pounds and 2 inches. And considering that Tyreek Hill is small. John says they can't get much older unless Ryan and I play, right? And Mike. He's not getting out of this one.
I'm a spring chicken.
What year? Wait, I was thinking about you last night. What year did you graduate again? 99?
99.
I thought. I couldn't remember if it was that or 2000.
Yeah, 99, baby.
RB says the Steelers draft great wide receiver stuff is overblown. Who? AB, Bryant, Sanders. Sanders was great elsewhere. Bryant couldn't stay off the drugs. Who else is there to create this narrative in the last 10?
Juju was good for 3 to 4 years. And see, Deontay Johnson was a productive NFL wide receiver. Santonio Holmes was a damn good wide receiver and NFL, or Super Bowl MVP.
John says the X days and wake up line is Army slang. Okay. Jamal says we're not that good, Ryan. I'm sorry, our offensive line isn't that good. My only concern, and again, Mike, on the offense, I guess Broderick Jones is another X factor. All my worries are on the offense, and if they could all come out and do their jobs effectively, I do think that we are good enough. But again, I think that's a lot of ifs. Could this team coach these guys to all be at that level, to play at their highest level, to be able to put ourselves in a position to be in the playoffs, to win in the playoffs, to do all these things. And again, the offensive line is a question. I look at the offensive line this way, Jamal. I just think that, what gets me through is that they're young. And maybe every time they step on the field, maybe they could just gel a little bit better, gel a little bit more and get a little bit better together. You have the veteran in Ciamalu, and then you have a bunch of young guys. And you just got to hope that Frazier, Vatanu, Broderick Jones, and all these younger guys can start to gel together and become a good offensive line. But again, you're right. There's so many, Mike. And again, I didn't really think about it being so many offensive question marks for me until we started this conversation. I mean, I knew I had this issue. I knew I wanted that. I knew this didn't work. But now that I'm sitting here thinking, these are all X factors, Mike, at the end of the day, and they all have to work for us to be successful. But at the end of the day, if that in fact happens, I think that we have a good team. And again, I think that we could make it to a championship game, Mike. But again, those things all have to happen for us, and they all have to work. Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, offensive line. Anybody else on the offense I didn't name, but if they work together, let me ask you this, Jamal. With what we do have an offense, where do you see the Steelers as far as points per game this year? Because again, we're a different kind of team. Our defense is really good. They're going to be able to allow us to win games that we can't score a lot of points, as we've seen in probably the last 50 years of our lives as Steeler fans. But at the end of the day, where do you see the Steelers falling as far as points per game? I'm just kind of curious to see where everybody's at with this offense as I try to figure it out as well. Because again, there's question marks. If they could get it to go, it could go good. But the big question is if. Let me jump back up here for Tortilla. Tortilla says, well, we've only drafted like 3 or 4 wide receivers in the last 5 years, but off the top of my head, Juju and GP weren't bad, and actually, like, we aren't the wide receiver U of the NFL is crazy. DJ too. Don't get too cute, Tortilla, because DJ might be one of our best options at this point, and I don't want to think about that.
You know you want Deontay Johnson back. You feel it deep down in your soul, brother.
Jamal says, sad we need 100 tight ends because our offensive line can't block. Again, these are questions. Is this what's going on? What's, again, in the Arthur Smith offense is one thing I just, again, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, offensive line, and Arthur Smith offense. Again, if these can all work, best case scenario, I do think we can make a little run. John says, RB, look at the last decade of draft picks and see who was left on the team or in the NFL. It is a terrible record. That is why they must reload with old-ass free agents. Let's see. Jamal says the third-string quarterback for the Panthers had his way with us. I hope our defense gets, and if it wasn't against our first string, our amazing three-headed defensive backs, maybe that wouldn't have been as concerning. But it's a point. You're right. You can say, well, these guys didn't play. Well, whose fault is that?
We're gonna have the worst defense in the NFL. Book it, boys.
I don't know about all that, but Christopher says he's as tough as nails.
I know I am.
Ortiz says Josh Allen could make Calvin Austin 3 look like an all-pro. And probably could. LOL says side chick. Jamal says LOL side chick. Also, John says Austin's flak jacket weighs more than him. He says Washington's one leg weighs 170 pounds. I love that. I love that Darnell Washington. I love him. He reminds me of Eric Green. If you guys remember Eric Green back in the late 80s, early 90s, tight end for the Steelers.
I just wish he was as fluid when he ran as Eric Green.
He
looks like my man struggles. He looks like he struggles when he runs.
When you're 6.5 feet, then you're.
I know, but
the thing is, if you're a basketball player, it's one thing. When you have weight on you to play football, it's different.
Right? Yeah. He just looks weird running.
I'm going to grab a couple more, Mike, and then we're going to jump onto this list I do have. Guys are killing it. I love it. Thank you. No two ways about it. We appreciate every message. They're all great. Let's see. Coasterholic says this. You might have mentioned it, but I saw Deontay Johnson get cut. I personally don't want him back, but how do you guys feel about it? I hate it. I'm going to be honest. Mike would take him.
I'd take him.
I hated it when he was here. I hated it. I wanted him gone. When he left, I was so happy. When he stunk in Baltimore, I was happy. When he stunk in Carolina, I was happy. When he stunk in wherever he was, I was happy. I just am not a fan of Deontay for many reasons. For many reasons. As time went on, he forgot how to catch. As time went on, he started running backwards. He walked past live bouncing. The list literally goes on for me and Deontay. I can't imagine why anybody, and apparently neither could anybody else in the league, imagine why they would want him on their team. But that's how I feel, Mike. Mike, you feel a little bit differently about it.
I'm a Deontay Johnson truther. I loved me some Deontay Johnson. I was happy we traded him. Don't get me wrong. But
what did you love so much about him?
I just I just love watching him run routes and get open. And when he caught the ball,
then when he missed the
and
ball,
when he ran forward, it was really good.
When he ran forward,
you ignore the bad with Deontay, you fall in love with Deontay. He's like the chick that you pine over, and you finally start dating her, and you realize, oh my God, she's toxic as hell. But you put all that aside because I finally got the girl I've been wanting for the longest time. That's me and Deontay Johnson. I just. His route running, I loved it. I loved it how he was able to separate, what he could do with the ball in his hand.
Well, if he could do other things,
I had blinders on.
If he could do the normal things like a normal person,
no,
those things would be great.
No.
The fact that he did those things and then it was the total opposite, Mike.
I know.
It was.
I know. When it comes to Deontay, I have blinders on. I know his faults.
Jamal says getting rid of GP2 for no wide receiver 2 in return was the dumbest shit ever. I could agree. Again, I guess we'll wait it out, and at the end of the year, Jamal, we'll tell people, we'll say, look what we told you before the season started, because apparently everybody thinks this is going to be fine. And again, the league is 6 teams are built their teams the way they do for a reason, and they generally have a number 2 quality wide receiver. At least they try to. But again, we'll hold the receipt. We'll have this conversation again at the end of the year. I'm right there with you, though, Jamal. Tortilla says Calvin sits in a car seat. Could you imagine Calvin and Roman and Russell Wilson last year? All their car seats lined up in the back of the
Mount
bus
Washington
there.
Has all 3 in his arms, just carrying the car seats like little newborns.
Kenneth says, I think we can really go tight end heavy and be okay. Let me ask you this, guys. Is Jonnu Smith flying under the radar for the most part?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is somebody that after we have this conversation every time that, you could bring up and you could say, well, this guy can basically be a wide receiver. How much of a role does Jonnu Smith being on this team play in the Steelers not being aggressive and going out and grabbing a number 2 receiver? To this point, at least, is Jonnu Smith a big part of that?
I think so. I think he's been that forgotten piece just because we didn't see a whole lot of him in training camp. And if I don't think he's going to match the production we saw in Miami just because I think we have too many guys to throw the ball around to.
Well,
But
they had a
he can
bunch
be
of
a
guys down there.
very, yeah. I think he can have a very good productive system or productive year in this system. And he is that forgotten weapon because he lined up a lot out wide last year in Miami and in the slot too.
I'm thinking
And
he might bail us out a little bit, Mike. I really
I
do.
think so too. And he has the deceptive speed. When you watch him, like it doesn't look like he's running fast, but he starts pulling away from guys. And I think he can be a very good weapon. And I think that's why they're not really, throwing first, second round picks after some of these bigger wide receivers. I think they have big plans for Jonnu Smith.
And you know what? That's just something you don't hear over and over again, Mike. And of course, if he can be that player, he could play such a big part on this offense, especially with all those other question marks on the offense. Let's see. Tortilla says if DJ wants to play tight end, fuck it, bring him in. I'm sure
That's the attitude I'm talking about, Tortilla.
I'm sure he would mess up blocking somehow. I don't know how and
He
why.
blocked backwards.
He would block backwards.
Not block the back.
Yeah.
Block backwards somehow.
He would bring the guy closer to the quarterback.
he would pick the guy up and throw him. Hey, Aaron, catch.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Cody? Always great seeing you on the board, sir. Cody was one of the MVPs yesterday as he attacked that old jughead, meathead. What's up, brother? Always great seeing you on the board.
Yes.
Hope all is well. Jamal says, I think B. Jones' immaturity is a huge factor in the offense. At what point does he mature? That's a question that I want to know about Broderick Jones. Mike, is this going to be the year that we think that we could consider a breakthrough year for him, or is he just going to continue to be the same Broderick Jones that we've known so far through his whole career? Is this guy ever going to be able to get it right?
I think this is the year. I was very encouraged by what I saw from him in the preseason. He didn't take any stupid penalties. Of course, the emotions aren't high in preseason games, so he wasn't out there getting into it like he did in years past. But last year, he was trying to be the peacemaker. But I like the way he was playing this year. You can see a lot of growth and development from last year to this year in the way he was playing, and he does look to be like that guy who can only play on one side of the line. So he looked very comfortable on the left side. So I'm bullish on Broderick Jones this year.
All right. Christopher says speed kills. DK has a 4.43. Roman has a 4.39. And Calvin has a 4.28. Yeah. And again, these are going to be things that we have to rely on and hope that these, again, other teams got really good players too. And we got to hope that our guys can outplay their guys at the end of the day. And again, that's why I want the best possible person I could have for the position. John says Calvin can get on Washington's shoulders and become like Master Blaster, like the Thunderdome.
Who runs Bartertown?
Jamal did come back and say 17 to 24 points per game. And that's where I give it him. I mean, come on, to think it could be consistently beyond that, I don't know yet. Again, some of these things have to play out that we're talking about, and I'm just quite not there yet.
I'm itching towards 26, 28 a game.
Ooh,
yeah.
All right,
and that might just be the coffee talking.
Yeah,
but I think I can see it.
Cody says our offense has sucked for like 4 years now. I'm used to the 3 and outs, and that's it. Yeah, we just got to turn that leaf. We got to stack drives, get good drives. Stay on the field on third down. Just the things that you have to do fundamentally in the game of football. We have to get back to doing those things well, so we could be more consistent at them. Chris was absolutely, man. He talking some Calvin Austin. I love these guys. And in his next message, I did see up here a couple messages away. He says you can't cover the speed, which is true. Tortilla says I'd rather play Connor Hayward at wide receiver than bring back DJ. I would rather take literal steps forward than literally run backwards. Jamal says I'm still excited. I do love the Washington. I mean, dude, I love
Noah. I love him, but they're just when I watch him run, I don't know what it is. It's like when Ryan watches Mahomes run.
Again, I don't see it.
I don't know. It's just something that I've always seen with him. To me, it just seems awkward.
My question for you is this: and we're talking about tight ends. We're talking about Darnell Washington. We're talking about him not looking that athletic. But on the other hand, you support the white guy who generally just doesn't look. What you get a white tight end, which a lot of times turns into a catch and the tackle immediately.
Yeah.
Which these guys never look athletic. And you're going to go on about Darnell Washington. The guy jumped over somebody.
Oh, I know he jumped. I'm not saying he's not. I love Darnell. I'm just saying when I watch him run, I have the same reaction as to when you watch Mahomes run, of like the way his hips move. For me, it's the way it looks like he's lumbering. But next thing you know, he takes 2 steps and he's 12 yards downfield. But to me, visually, he looks awkward when he runs. But he's gaining yards when he does it. It's just a visceral thing to me when I see it. To me, it feels weird.
Are you telling me it doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes has pregnant ass?
Yes, it does. He does. He looks like he's running like a toddler with a full diaper.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, watching Darnell in those long ass, thick ass tree trunk legs, to me, it looks
99% of the white tight ends in the league, they get hit and they drop like a tree. Yeah, they just do. Darnell Washington doesn't do that. I don't. Again,
not Kittle. Kittle be running down the field.
What I say, 99%.
Yeah,
correct?
So I immediately go towards the top of the end there.
So but, Kelsey, the top, 1% obviously aren't that way. Again, I don't see the wash like that. I just don't.
That's just how I see him. But I love him. But I just every time I see him run, he looks weird to me.
Cody says, I don't care if our defense sucks as long as there's James Harrison, Ryan Clarking people. You know what? I like Deshaun Elliott for this, Mike. I think Deshaun Elliott in Thornhill, I think our safeties are going to be laying guys out this year. And I think they do. I think they have to set the tone like this. I
think they do too. And Jalen Ramsey, he was setting the tone too in the preseason on his one little tackle there, picking the guy up and just running and then throwing him down. They're ready to hit people this year. I'm
gonna address a couple at the top right, but then I'm gonna get into this list. Just I want to get into this list, guys. But we are gonna get back on the board. Excuse me, Sticky B. I do want to say what's up to Sticky B. Always good seeing you on the board. What you know about Sticky B? And then and there are some good messages, Mike, and I'm not gonna miss any of them. I just wanted to make sure I said what's up to everybody. Let me get to this board, Mike. This list. This is the top wide receiver options left for the Steelers at this point. Like as time went on and other guys got taken other places and signed elsewhere, this is what we're working with. Top options, probably from top to bottom, close enough. Here we go. Gabe Davis, Mike. Gabe Davis. Again, he made multiple trips to Pittsburgh to talk to the team. He left last time to go talk to his former team, Buffalo. He still had not signed anywhere. Mike, Gabe Davis is my first guy on the list. Number 2 is Romeo Doubs, Mike. Romeo Doubs from the Green Bay Packers. Of course, this is a guy that we talked about. Aaron Rodgers might have some interest in him on a personal level. Mike, Romeo Doubs, number 2-ish on the list. Again, I don't know if these are in order, but these are the order that I'm giving them. Mike, Allen Lazard. Allen Lazard, who, of course, played with Aaron Rodgers somewhat recently. Allen Lazard, also the number 3 guy on this list, Mike. Number 4, Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers, who just requested to be traded from the Raiders. They just recently grabbed Amari Cooper. That was a name of somebody that we floated out there. But Mike, Jacoby Myers. Kendrick Bourne, Mike. Kendrick Bourne is a name that is on this list. Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd is a name that's on this list. And finally, Mike, Deontay Johnson. These are the best options as of about right now, as of what we can do to improve this team with our wide receiver room. I'll give them to you one more time, and you can give me your thoughts, Mike, and everybody on the board. Gabe Davis, Romeo Doubs, Allen Lazard, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, Tyler Boyd, Deontay Johnson. It looks like they are roughly our 7 best options at this point. What do you do if you do make a move for a wide receiver 2, and this is what you're working with?
If what I'm working with, I'm going after Romeo Doubs. I think he's the best of the bunch right there. Jacoby Myers, I think that's a non-starter. I think the Raiders said we're not trading him at all. So I think we've called and inquired about him, if I've read correctly, and they flat out told the Steelers, no, we don't want to move him. So he's off the board. Kendrick Bourne, he got scooped up really quick by another team, but he did nothing for me. For me, he's just a guy. He doesn't move the needle. He would just fit in right alongside Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. Allen Lazard, I wouldn't mind. He's just a steady guy. His best year was 788 yards, and he's not gonna eat up a lot of yardage, but he's a productive receiver. He's dependable, I think is what we're looking for right there. So he would be my number 2 option right there. Deontay Johnson, I know I love him, but he's completely done at this point in his career. So I'd go Dobbs and then Allen.
Mike, let me ask you this. If all else fails,
and then Gabe Davis, number 3, because Gabe Davis drops a lot of fucking passes.
If all else fails, does it kill the Steelers? If all else fails, does it kill the Steelers to go out and sign Tyler Boyd at the last moment? He's a hometown guy. You might get him for a good price and for some hometown production. Maybe he comes out with this team that's thrown together, built to make a run, and gives you more than you've seen of the last couple of years, as he followed Jamar Chase, as he followed Higgins, as he followed all these other people in the depth chart. Mike, if he comes in, not as a number 2 per se, but just as another wide receiver in the room of the hodgepodge that we have.
Yeah.
Again, you could probably get him on a cheap, and again, he might be able to get it together for a really good season for his hometown team. He just put together a stadium at Clairton High School.
Yeah.
Getting the home crowd behind him. Tyler Boyd, Mike.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Again, though, like he showed last year at Tennessee, he cannot be counted on to be the guy. But he would be,
which he shouldn't have been. He was never
he was always like the number 2, number 3 in Cincy. He was really great as a number 3, letting the other guys take the heat off. I wouldn't mind signing him if you can get him for a vet minimum. I think by the end of the season, though, you'd see Rowan Wilson and Calvin Austin having better yards than him. But for a guy to come in and
which you would hope
you'd hope they could at the point. I would be okay with Tyler Boyd there. Another veteran presence that's dependable and reliable. I'd take him. But if I'm going after someone's going to be Romeo Dobbs, if I can get him. But I don't know what Green Bay's doing with that receiver room, and they're in talks too about rumors about them getting Micah Parsons. So they're involved in a lot of offseason rumors right now. And also but Dobbs would be my guy.
And also another thing that happened, Mike, of course, the name that popped up yesterday was Malachi Corley. He did join the Cleveland Browns practice squad. So he is off the table as well for the most part, which was a name that we recently did talk about. So Corley is off. And again, Mike, Adam Thielen, he did move. He's back to Minnesota. These look like to be our best options at this point, these names that I just threw off on this list. Mike, so let me talk about this. We've been talking about, I do see on the board as well, John says, yes, Jonnu Smith can fill the wide receiver role, which I think could possibly be a good scenario for the Steelers. Mike, Jonnu Smith praises Aaron Rodgers, saying he has the answer. He's like, he has all the answers to the tests. Mike, these guys do believe in Aaron Rodgers. I'm seeing that these guys don't want to disappoint Aaron Rodgers. Maybe this team could strum up enough emotionally, strum up enough in between the ears to play to a level, Mike, and especially the offense this year to, again, do some of the things that Pittsburgh Steelers fans want this team to do, opposed to what they've been seeing over the past 5 years or so, Mike, as he calls Aaron Rodgers a genius. And John is saying Jonnu could certainly fill the wide receiver role. Again, just in a different sense, is this guy flying in under the radar? Nobody's giving him this credit. Nobody's really saying we're going to do well on offense because of Jonnu Smith. He gets clumped into we have 35 tight ends. Yeah. So again, he doesn't come up enough in conversation. He's he's for the most part getting over that nagging injury. So here in 9 days in a wake up, he could be a very big part of this offense, Jonnu Smith. And again, this is a name that not many people were bringing up. It's big that it was nice that we got this. I mean, it was a nice trade. We ended up getting a couple pieces out of it. But Mike, he could certainly be a lot bigger piece than people were giving him credit for.
A huge piece of the puzzle, because you can line him up, like I said, you can line him up outside, or you can line him up in the slot. And okay, you line him up outside. Okay, now you're gonna put one of your number 2 corner on him. Guess what? You're gonna have to put a linebacker on Calvin Austin or Rowan Wilson, 2 guys that are shiftier and faster than most inside backers that would have to cover him. I'll take that. Or you can line him up in the slot too. Then Freiermuth can line up in the slot. Jonnu can line up in the slot. Jonnu can line up outside. Freiermuth in the slot. Darnell Washington in line.
Can Jonnu line up at left tackle by chance?
No, that's reserved for Mount Washington and Mount Washington only. But so the tight ends can line up in a lot of different places out there. Then you have DK. Then If DK needs rest, you put all the big guys out there, then you add in a couple speed guys, and change the pace of what you're doing against the defense. So the different machinations that you can do out there, I think Jonnu Smith's going to be a huge part of that. And I think he's going to more or less fall into being a de facto number 2 wide receiver, kind of like he was in Miami last year. It felt like, because it just felt like he was a big part of their offense last year in Miami. And they have 2 really good wide receivers down there.
You know what? It's so crazy that we're getting all these guys from these terrible teams, and we're saying, well, this guy when he was in Atlanta, he was the best this, and this guy when he was in New York with the Jets, he was the best this. These guys were coming from terrible teams. I mean, of course they're going to have the best numbers. They were the good players on these terrible teams. But again, Jonnu Smith, Mike, again, if he could fill that role, he could kind of come in under the radar. He could be the guy that ends up making the big play when you need it, when you're not expecting it. I certainly think that's highly beneficial. I think the Jonnu pickup is a big pickup, Mike. And again, he could certainly play a big role if some of these other X factors that we're talking about this particular show don't play in our favor. Jonnu Smith can be a huge part of this Pittsburgh Steelers team moving forward, and I think that he might have to be if this team wants to, again, resemble a run in January. Again, just depending where you're at and what this team can actually do, it's going to be hard to say at this point. But I want to be talking about the Steelers the whole way through January if we can, Mike. Of course, the Super Bowl comes on, I think, Valentine's Day. If not Valentine's, it's either the 14th or the 15th. So I at least want to see this team make a nice run in January. I don't know if the February talk is real. We'll have to see. We don't know.
We'll find out.
But I want to see this team looking better in January. Otherwise, you walk away saying, oh, geez, everything that we did this year got us no further than we were last year. And I don't want that to happen because we're doing a lot of work. There's a lot of work. What do you do next? What do you got to do next to get a win in the playoffs? So we don't want to get to that point, Mike. We're
gonna have to start selling our souls or something, brother.
We'll get Derpy. We'll sacrifice Derpy.
I am 100% on board. Since day one, I've been on board with that plan. And you shot me down for 799
you were the reason that he was here. You were the reason that he came on board. Don't blame me.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Let's jump back on the board, though, Mike. I do got a couple more things that we're going to get into today. But let's grab some messages on the board, guys. Tortilla says we usually get in the red zone often, but we have the worst red zone offense. I've heard that our red zone offense looks good in DK, Washington, and Smith. We will see. You know what? We're lucky we have a guy like Boz as well, Mike, because, again, at the end of the day, a lot of times we do have red zone issues. And if we didn't have the field goal kicker that we have, who knows where we would be. So, I'd like to see some more sixes instead of threes in the red zone.
Well, me too. And that's what Coach said, too. Let's get sixes instead of threes. It's nice that you have a guy, you're automatic 3 once you get inside a certain range, but can we punch in for 6?
Yeah. Tortilla says Arthur Smith definitely has some place for Jonnu Smith, no doubt in my mind. Maybe not week 1, but we will see a lot if healthy. And I think we're going to have to. Tortilla, would you agree? Aaron, my man, he says if our passing game gets going, who will want to tackle DK and our 3 tight ends? In the you're right. I mean, they're big guys, man. It could be awfully bruising and punishing on the body. But again, those things kind of we have to really learn how to use what we have and be productive with it. And if that's the case, if people are starting to try to figure out, again, Mike, in the third and fourth quarter, as Aaron's saying, how to stop these, nobody wants to tackle you. Remember Jerome Bettis?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Fourth quarter, nobody wanted to tackle him.
No.
He's rumbling, stumbling, bumbling. And again, I remember Reggie Tongue in a game against the Jets. I could remember this play, Mike. Bettis was coming from probably about the 4-yard line. He was running between the tackles, and the last guy to have a chance to get him was Reggie Tongue, and he basically just put his arm to the side.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? There was no effort. He put his arm out, and that was like it. Like, nobody wants to tackle that guy in the fourth quarter.
You're going to get ran over. He's going to score anyway.
Yeah.
Discretion's the better part of valor. Make a business decision.
Yeah. Coasterholic says Vanilla saying 26-28 a game and is drinking a little bit more than coffee this morning. LOL. I hope you're right. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Today's just coffee. I'm being a good Vanilla Thunder today.
I mean that's a good offense. When you're getting 26-28, that's what's considered
that might
a good
be
offense.
Yeah. I want to know something.
I'll
circle back to that real quick.
Also, Sticky B said this should be the best offense we've had. You're right. It should be. It should be. maybe I'm just worrying too much about everything. I could do that from time to time.
That would put us at a 26-20 in a game would put us around Green Bay to Washington offensive output last year. So in that
And
6th to
Washington
8th
was
range.
in the NFC Championship
Yeah.
game, and Green Bay
Yeah.
again finished
Yeah.
with double-digit wins, Mike finishing third in that
Yeah.
NFC North.
Yeah, so I'm not that crazy.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, I am. Delusional.
Yeah. Coaster also says this. He says, I'm not high on Arthur Smith's offense. I think it's better than Matt Canada's. But that's it. I want week 1 to get here. I hear you. I hear you. And you know what? The preseason came and went so fast. So, these next 9 days in a wake up should go fast with all things considered. Bigfoot looks funny too running, Mike. Also, John was saying, referring back to Darnell Washington.
And so do I, for the record. So I'm not making fun of Darnell.
Yeah, you really do. I've
It ain't
seen you
pretty.
get injured going reverse in a car, and I've also seen you get injured doing other things. Running, Mike, is not your forte, but you know what? That's okay. We don't pay. You don't run for us, so that's
20 years, 120 pounds ago. Yes, running was my forte.
Jamal, we appreciate that, man, and we love all you guys too. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do this if we didn't, guys. Guys are amazing, but thank you for that compliment, sir. Sticky B says Gabe's knee must not be. You know what? Maybe, guys. Is that what the case is? Because when he left here, Mike, before he went to Buffalo, he was supposed to stop and get some kind of physical. And again, Mike, nobody is signing him.
No one's signing him. And that knee from last year and like the way he played in Jacksonville last year before the injury was very discouraging. Yeah. You're thinking like, what's he a creation of Josh Allen and the Sean McDermott offense up there? He could be.
Absolutely. And Mike, as you're saying, he has the dropsies too. And I don't know, we don't want Deontay Johnson. Why?
No.
Because he has the dropsies. I mean, so do we, so we're in a position.
And that shit's contagious.
I know.
Remember, you and I were talking about that off air the other day. Like
12-0 season. We started with 12-0 or 11-0.
No one could catch.
Then all of a sudden, every single receiver on the team forgot. I could have swore that they had something in for maybe against the coach or the team or whoever. I've never seen a team collectively forget how to catch a football.
What's wild?
A team of receiver, all the receivers. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And again, you went from being an 11-0. It wasn't a strong 11-0, albeit it was 11-0.
Yeah. Ben would put him he was putting them on the numbers in their hands, and they were just clanging off of them. It was comical.
It was hard to watch, and it was frustrating as can be. Tortilla says Boaz made 41 of 44 field goals last year. His over-under isn't set, but could be in the mid-30s. I'm speculating we could turn some of those field goals into TDs. I sure hope so, Tortilla. I really do.
Yeah.
I want more sixes, man. Again, it just kind of gives us fans a little bit more confidence that this team is better than it was the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
We need a couple of these kicks in the ass, a couple things that happen to let us realize that, Mike, because again, these past 4 or 5 years, they left a taste in your mouth, and I want to get that taste out.
Yeah, it's like you flip one field goal a game into a touchdown, and the score looks so much better. The offense looks so much better, and that just adds confidence. Like you start scoring touchdowns, that shit snowballs from game to game because you have the confidence of the known, hey, I can do my job.
Right. Jamal, again, we appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Jamal. Yes.
That, very, very kind words. Thank you, sir. Tortilla says Romeo Dobbs. I like this, Mike. I would love a Romeo Dobbs edition again of this list of guys that we named. He's certainly somebody that's on the top of that list, and it just makes you wonder again, just 9 days in a sleep away from the kickoff, the opener, Mike, in New Jersey at MetLife Stadium against the Jets. Here we are still trying to wonder. And again, if they're not, maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe they're 100% happy with the way that the Arthur Smith offense is set up. They're 100% happy with what they have going on with this tight end. Again, maybe they come out and blow us away in 9 days in a sleep. We will see. But again, Mike, Romeo Dobbs certainly sits at the top of the list of guys. Gabe Davis with his knee, with a few of these other things going on. But again, like I said, I wouldn't be against the Tyler Boyd pickup at the end either, Mike. If it just came down to it and they said, let's, we could bring him in, I think that he would, again, for his hometown, and maybe it's, he's ending out his career. He's seeing that people are knocking down the door to sign him.
Exactly.
Maybe
take what you can get at this point.
Right. Make the best of it. Then again, maybe he could be really, again, he's not a bad receiver. He's starting to age a little bit, but again, if you bring him in that pinch as an older guy, I'm not against it at this point. Coasterholic says, give me Myers or Boyd. The other options aren't much better than we have now. Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm saying. We're kind of getting to that point where we were hoping for a number 2 kind of guy, but everybody now is just kind of falling into that category of everything else that we have.
I think to me, Romeo Dobbs would be the guy to get. That's just me.
Tortilla is saying though, but I doubt the Packers are looking to trade right now. Would Romeo be on a trade? He would be a trade, right?
For Romeo Dobbs, yeah, with Green Bay. And they have a lot of receivers, but, like, do they want to let him go? Because I think he might be their best one. Or
that's
one
what
of
I'm
their better
saying, right?
ones. Not their best.
What are you going to give up for
exactly.
Romeo Dobbs? I mean, to fill a spot that you may or may not fill in this season, going into the season, Mike, are you going to give up a legit piece of your puzzle?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think they have him as their third receiver, but they drafted a couple guys this year too. But I don't know what they're looking to do.
Kenneth says Johnson coming back would be a good addition. I'm sure his headstrong attitude is different or tame, knowing it might be his last. The thing is, I don't know. I'm just so disenfranchised from him because of all the bad experiences when he was here. I don't know. Tortilla says, I wouldn't mind Boyd, but he's another slot guy. He can play outside, but I'd rather Roman in and see if he's good or not. Sticky B, what you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says this might be the best defense Rodgers has ever played with. He's not going to have to be Superman, just a competent quarterback and keep our D fresh.
I just need someone to fill in like Trent Dilfer. Just keep the offense moving, no turnovers. What's our record without, in games with 0 turnovers the past how many years? It's
38 and 10.
Yeah, best in the NFL.
John says if Rodgers has time, he can hit all the targets on the. I know. And again, that comes down to, is this offensive line good enough to give him that time? So again, all these things need to work together. Can it be done? Yes. On paper, it looks pretty good. Again, realistically, if they can do it and they can make these things, all these things that we talked about today, Mike, again, if they come out and make it happen and get it done, I think that this team can make some kind of a January push. John follows it up by saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Kelsey and Swift get married during the Super Bowl halftime.
Yeah, I'm here for it, brother. I'll officiate the wedding.
You know what? It went away last year for the most part. Remember 2 years ago, it was all over the place. Last year it went away. Now it's back.
Love is in the air, Ryan. Love is in the air.
Cody says Tyler Boyd talked too much shit to come to Pittsburgh. I think at the end of the day, though, he is, people in Pittsburgh will be forgiving because, he lives about 10 minutes from the stadium, and this is where he grew up. And again, Pittsburgh is forgiving in that sense because he is a home guy. I do believe this. It's just, I think they get his back. I do. Aaron says this: the reason we got rid of Minka Fitzpatrick was because we needed coverage up front for 3 seconds so our pass rush could get home. It took 3 seconds before they even got to him. Hey, Cordman Tommy, great seeing you great seeing you on the board as always. He says, rock and roll boys, I'm back from the arc. Man can only stand so many handies. Glad to be back.
That's how you make an entrance, boys.
Glad to have you back. Thank you for jumping on board. Aaron says there's a chance our defense could be dominant again for the first time. Man, wouldn't you just love it if this defense would just come out and dominate? Like, listen, it's very hard to duplicate like what the Ravens did in 2000 or the Buccaneers in 2003 or even, the Bears in 85. But if you could come up with somewhere, if the defense could be somewhat productive on that level, Mike, to say, what, this defense is the best defense in the league and they're just so stingy, and we get back to them saying that about our defense, I'll start to feel better about things overall as well, because the past 5 years they've had to carry the load. Let's face it, they haven't had that opportunity to do the things maybe that you can do if you're ahead of the game. They're constantly behind the 8 ball with the offense not being productive, with the offense coming off the field so many times on 3rd, 4th down, and the defense has to play different. You have to play different if you're it's just different, guys. I would love to see this defense get back to that level, Mike. I think that would go such a far way for this team. And it comes down to not exhausting the defense ultimately, because you have to play different once that becomes the case. So I would love to see this defense get back to that level, man. I think that goes so far for the Steelers this year if that becomes the situation.
Yeah, if they're not out there all the time and have them play
right.
ball. Oof.
Rodgers don't even. He does. He got a quick delivery RB. But the thing is, he's an old and he's little too. He's not that big of a guy. I don't want him taking too many hits back there. I just don't know how many hits I'm comfortable with Aaron Rodgers taking, which they come anyway. Even if you get the pass off, even if you complete the ball, there's a chance you're still going to get smashed. You know, that worries the shit out of me about Aaron Rodgers being 42 years old. Again, a lot closer to 50 than it is to 30. And when you put it that way, it makes you think you don't want this guy hit all the time. You certainly don't want this guy hit all the time. RB also says this. He says Steeler fans aren't going to be happy with a 3 yards passing in a cloud of dust passing game, but it will serve its purpose with some shots sprinkled in. And Jamal says Kelsey and Swift is such a fake relationship. Travis date bad bitch. You know what I mean? I've said that from day one. I thought this thing was I thought it was all shtick. Now I don't think that it is. I hate it, but I thought it was a fabricated relationship, but it's gone on too long. I don't know. A couple of things, Mike, before we do start to wrap up the show here shortly, guys. 9 out of 10 NFL Network experts pick the Steelers over the Jets in Week 1, and 9 out of 10 from NFL.com pick the Steelers over the Jets in Week 1. Mike, any chance that the Jets win in New Jersey on September 7th against the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Now there is. Now I'm worried. When everyone picks us, I'm worried that we're going to lose now. But no, there is a way. You know, it's the NFL, man.
Well,
like,
I mean,
any given Sunday.
obviously.
But I think they can. I think if
don't go cliche. Just give me what do you think is going to happen? You think we're going to lose or we're going to win? I say we win. I think we win.
I'm leaning towards win, but I think it's going to be a lot tighter than people want it to be.
I do too. I mean, every Pittsburgh Steelers game from here from the rest of history is going to be tighter than people like it to be. I think we win this football game, Mike. I'm going to say, just off the top of my head, 26 to I don't want it to be this close, but I'm going to say 26-19. That is my prediction for the Jets Steelers game. I say Steelers win this football game 26-19. And that's my prediction right now. Mike, you think Pittsburgh? What kind of score do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be like a low scoring. Like,
didn't you just say this team was going to score 28 points?
Yeah, not right away.
Okay.
Just an early prediction. I'm going to go 18-16. Boswell's going to win us the game.
See, I don't think it's going to be that close.
I just have like a weird feeling right now. But it's 9 days and a wake up away.
You're right. And
so,
Mike, 9 out of 10.
Let me know when it's due to wake up.
9 out of 10 experts, again, from the NFL Network and from the NFL.com, are picking the Steelers over the Jets in that game. Mike, there are some predictions popping up on the board. RB is saying 27-9, and I'm assuming these are Steeler wins, guys, correct? Just throw up there if anybody's saying that the Jets, put that out there just so we can differentiate. RB is saying 27-9 is where he's going with the Steelers winning. Jamal is saying 24-10. And Sticky B, what you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says 34-15. See, I mean, these are the kind of. I don't think it's going to be too close, and I don't think it's going to be a big blowout. I think it's going to be a way that look at the Jets game last year. Look at how we played the Giants in that win last year. And in those two New York games, I think that this is how this plays out. I think that we're just a better football team. Yes, I think we're going to win. I think that we're not going to kill them. I don't think that they're going to – I just think it's going to be like the Jets game was last year, like the Giants game was. We're going to go out there and beat this team because we're a better team. I do believe that. Cordman is saying we're going to rock the apple that day. Of course, Sticky B is saying the Steeler win. And then RB, yes, of course. My last thing, guys, and I saved this for very last night because I knew you would like it. Like, this was our friend Meathead over, across the way. We all know Meathead here on the show. Meathead, prior to yesterday's everything happening with signing and bringing the practice squad together, this is what Meathead said. Meathead said, Meathead believes Beanie Bishop and Robert Woods won't circle back to the Steelers. Mike, this was said between these guys getting cut and 24 hours later, them being signed back to the practice squad. This meat brain, he ends out saying, I believe that Beanie Bishop and Robert Woods won't circle back to the Steelers. So again, do what you want with that. These are people that are giving you your Steelers scoop and from sources from within and the stuff that they want you to know and think. And Mike, again, He says he didn't believe that Beanie Bishop and Robert Woods would circle back to the Steelers, which obviously isn't the case. They were the first people back. Again, Beanie Bishop was on the practice field yesterday.
Yeah.
He got cut the night before.
Yeah.
He's on the field the next day. Mike, he was still involved with the team. These players knew they were coming back the next day.
Yeah, like me, who the closest I get to the Steelers Stadium is Rochester, PA. I had better insight of going, I'm almost 100% confident Beanie Bishop is going to land on the practice squad because they like him. Now, I missed the one on Robert Woods because I knew they relaxed like guys who can go on the practice squad. I didn't realize a guy who's been in the league since the Hoover administration was allowed onto the practice squad. So I fucked up on that one, but I got the other one that made obvious sense just from looking at it from afar. Like the way the coaches were talking about him, they wanted him to show more. So that means they have hopes for him. They want him to do better. And that would make sense to put him in practice squad. And this dumbass is there every fucking day. Get the hell out of here. Just common sense makes you realize, Beanie Bishop had a really good fucking chance of making the team on the practice squad.
RB, that's bullshit.
Kaboli.
In case you're wondering, he says, who's meathead? It's bullshit.
Bullshit. I like it.
Let me grab a couple more of these messages, Mike. Let's see, 10-9. Johnny, hey, welcome to the board, Johnny. Johnny Martins, great to see you. Welcome to the show. Awesome to have you. 10-9 is what he's saying. Sticky B, what you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says it'll be a slow start, but second half pull. That's what basically a Steelers Jets game. I don't see anything coming out of this, guys. That's going to be any big surprises. I think, of course, the quarterbacks playing against their former team the following year. I think that's going to be the big storyline. A lot of Aaron Rodgers, blah blah blah. As we've seen in preseason, you're trying to watch these guys and what talents they have. They showed Aaron walking up and down the sideline, talking and laughing for 3 games. So I think it's going to be a lot of Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be in your face this year, and but again, Mike, I think this turns into a Steelers-Jets game. If you look through the record books for the most part, every Steelers-Jets game turns out the same way. We basically, as he's saying, we start slow. We win because we're a better team. And I think the Steelers are 1-0 after this first week. And that's what I'm sticking with. Christopher says Roman Wilson is wide receiver 2. Steelers Nation, at least give him a chance to show you. And I love it. I hope he is. I hope he turns into be that guy. I really do. And Mike, after the first official game of the season, I think is when I'm going to feel better. Again, seeing him catch the 4 balls for 100 yards or whatever it was in preseason was encouraging. I want to see a little bit in the regular season to see what we really have with him. Again, out all his rookie year. I hope he becomes that guy, Christopher. And you know what? He could very well be that guy. So fingers crossed. Beans deserves a spy. I agree. The reason he didn't make it is just because we made so much progress at his position and so many people came in and we just couldn't have 53 people there. But I think so as well. The guy, what do you have? 4 interceptions last year. Yeah, 4 interceptions as an undrafted rookie. To me, I don't throw that out the window. I don't. RB says I'm convinced that bullshit works for free lunch and a press pass. No one can actually pay this dipshit for these. Come on, right? We're right there. Apparently, who was it yesterday, Mike? Was it? It was Cody. Corey caught it, but Cody was giving bullshit some shit on his show, and we had a good laugh about that yesterday. Mark Malone says Beaner Trump got deported off the team.
Oh God.
Couldn't be a day without Mark Malone and his commentary.
My God.
Let's see. Cordman Tommy Meathead still with us. Wow. He says Meathead equals Connor Hayward.
I never knew people called Connor Hayward Meathead.
Me neither. But now that
they called him Meatball, I'll take Meathead for Connor Hayward.
What was is that the guy's name on that show? Meatwad. Meatwad. Like a meatwad to me.
Meatwad.
Christmas says we haven't even seen him play in the NFL games. You're right. And I don't know if that's why I feel good or why I feel bad. Again, we'll talk. We'll definitely have a lot more Roman Wilson talk as time goes. Tortilla says watch strip sack to win, and I don't want that to happen. Tortilla, if it does, great, and we're gonna love it. But I don't want it to come down to a Watt having to get a strip sack to win a game against the Jets. I just don't. I want to be able to go out and impose our will and do some things that we want to do and just be better. than the other team. I don't want the Jets game to come down to that. But if it does, it does, and we get the win. I'm happy, but I hope that that's not what it comes down to. Mark Malone says, "What power?" RB says, I wish they would have spent a practice spot on DJ. Cordman told me I'd like to see my man Sawyer get a sack while spelling somebody. And he's going to be another one to keep your eye on, Mike. Again, of these guys that I was thrilled about, I mentioned earlier, Derek Harmon, Y.A. Black, Carson Bruner. Notice Jack Sawyer didn't fall into that category.
Yeah, me either.
I'm still not. He hasn't thrilled me yet.
No.
And then RB says no meathead don't work. The Haywards are cockhead and shit. Board is getting ratty as we start to round third base, Mike. RB says, does anybody follow the rest of the NFL? The Jets offense is abysmal. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Jets don't really have a lot going on. That's why I hope that it doesn't come down to a strip sack at the end of the game from the guy that we cut to get the guy that they had as their quarterback. And again, I just, I want to steal. I want to win. I just, like I said, give me 7 to 10 points. I'll be happy with that.
I don't know, man. The Jets have Reynolds.
Well, they do have Reynolds. So there you go, guys. That's
guy.
Again, 9 days in a wake up. 9 days in a wake up, Mike. Real quick. The Steelers, again, signing 16 guys that they cut the day prior onto the practice squad. Some moves made around to make things happen. Again, putting Will Howard and who else? Dante Kent on the IR, Mike, allowing them to sign Chuck Clark and Max Sharping onto the active roster. Some targets that we had been talking about, maybe, Mike, has signed other teams, of course, yesterday. Malachi Corley came up briefly on the show. He is off the table, Mike. Also, Adam Thielen. I don't know if he was ever on the table, but he is another wide receiver in the league that went back to Miami from Minnesota from Carolina. So a couple more guys off the table, Mike. There is a small list of guys that we certainly can continue to look at, and we will certainly continue to follow on the show as the day goes on. And as, Mike, these next 9 days and a wake-up go, we will continue to dig up all the scoop on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike. But before we get into the trivia question of the day, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they beat the Cardinals, Mike. They're 59-75. So get this, there's 28 games left for the Pirates. If they go 22-6, they will finish the season at 500. They are a 22-6 run away from being a 500 team to finish out the year. Mike, the Pirates back in action today, playing game 4 of 4 against the St. Louis Cardinals at 2:15. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
The2dumbyinzers.com. Check it out, everyone. All of our social media links over there. We got the merch store over there. Might be some new t-shirts over there with all the funny sayings you guys are coming up with. And we have the dumb thoughts over there. Last one up there is still my roster prediction. Go check it out. See how much better I was at predicting the Steelers roster than the Steelers media. If that isn't a ringing endorsement as to why everyone should be watching the Two Dumb Yinzers, I do not know what is.
All right, go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumbyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumbyinzers.com. Mike, put on your thinking cap, everybody on the board, everybody at home. This is time for question of the day. Mike, we're not into the how well do you know your enemies just yet. We'll get into our Jets questions next week. Mike, this is our Steelers. This is a Steeler question. Everybody on the board, Mike, everybody at home, here we go. Question of the day. Which 3 teams did the Steelers beat in their 3 AFC championship wins in the 2000s? What 3 teams did the Steelers beat in their 3 AFC championship game wins in the 2000s? Take a minute to think that over, guys. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day right here on YouTube. Question of the day. Which 3 teams did the Steelers beat in their 3 AFC championship wins in the 2000s, Mike? Is the question of the day, guys. Throw your guesses up on the board. Mike, what's your thought process?
Okay. I hid the chat on my screen because I know they're all going to know it. So it's Denver, because Tunch had to he booked the flight, canceled the flight, booked the flight after Bussy fumbled, and then Vanderjagt missed. So we beat Denver. Let's say Baltimore, to go into the last one where we beat the Cardinals, I think we beat Baltimore. And I want to say, San Diego in one of them.
All right, so you're saying Denver,
Mm-hmm.
San Diego,
And
and Baltimore.
Yeah.
All right, is this your final answer?
Final answer.
All right, let me lock you in, Mike. Locking you in.
Lock it in.
All right, so before I give the answer, I'm going to give you what other people on the board are saying, Mike. RB is saying the Jets, the Broncos, and the Ravens. Cody has said the Ravens, the Broncos, and the Colts. I do want to say welcome to Nick on the board. Welcome, Nick. Thank you. And his answer, Mike, is the Broncos and the Colts. Cody is saying the Patriots as well. Tortilla is saying the Ravens, and the Ravens. Jamal says the Colts, the Ravens, and the Broncos. Cordman Tommy saying the Broncos, the Ravens, and the Colts. Cordman is saying, could I answer? Sure. Because could I answer for Mark Malone? Or can I answer Mark Malone? And then Christopher said 35-10 Steelers on his win first prediction. And I like that. I would love to see a 35-10 win in week one. That'd be fantastic. So, Mike, there's a bunch of different teams on this on the board. I see the Ravens, I see the Colts, I see the Broncos, I see the Patriots. I see quite a few teams here. But your guess was the Ravens, the Chargers, and
Ravens. I forget who it was. And Ravens, Chargers.
Ravens, Chargers, and Broncos.
Right, yeah, Broncos.
All right, so there you go. We're locked in, Mike. Everybody's got their answers up. Guys, this is the question of the day. Which three teams did the Steelers beat in their 3 AFC championship wins in the 2000s? Mike, we'll start with the earliest. Yes, the Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks. The Steelers did go to Denver, beat Jake Plummer and the Denver Broncos. That score on that game was roughly 34-17, if I'm remembering right. Matter of fact, it was because that was the same score of the game against the Bengals in the very first round. 34-17, Mike, yes. So the first game was against Denver. They beat Denver. They went on to win the Super Bowl against Seattle. In 2009, when they went on to play Arizona, they played the Baltimore Ravens. They beat Baltimore. They went on to win the Super Bowl against the Cardinals. And finally, Mike, the third AFC championship game that we won in the 2000s before we went off to Dallas in Super Bowl 45 to play the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Mike, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the New York Jets.
That's right.
The New York Jets. So the answer, guys, is the Broncos, the Ravens, and the Jets were the three teams that the Steelers beat in the AFC Championship games in the 2000s. A lot of Colts guys was the 96 Super Bowl team. They beat Jim Harbaugh and the Colts in Three River Stadium 20-16 to go on to play Dallas in the 27-17 loss. And they did play San Diego the year prior to that in the AFC Championship. So maybe that's where some of the confusion was. And, of course, I do see the Patriots, which we played them a million times and never beat them in the championship game. But answer, guys, Denver, Baltimore, and the New York Jets.
I always forget about the Jets because I remembered we played them Ben's first year. We beat them. And the reason I thought San Diego, I think San Diego, we beat them the week before we played the Ravens in that Super Bowl run. I got the timelines a little confused there. And I kind of blocked out that last playoff run leading up to the Green Bay one. I just totally blocked that shit out.
Cordman Tommy says, shit, I forgot about the Jets, but that's easy to do. Ain't that the truth?
Right?
But you just, I mean, you think of somebody good is who you played. Obviously, you're playing in the championship game. You never think the Jets. It's not natural.
We should have thought of the Jets because every question this week has dealt with the Jets because we're leading up to the Jets.
That's true.
No, I didn't stop and think.
All right. And then RB says, I win again. What's my prize? Mike, why don't you tell RB what his prize is for the day?
I got some extra crayons that my kid didn't need for school. I got you some crayons, brother. 24-pack. It's not the 64-pack. I'm too broke for that. I got you 24-pack of crayons. Or 4-pack of highlighters.
I tell you what, Mike, I do have to start filling up your room. We do have the draft coming here in April, and I do know there are a lot of people coming from out of town. RB's not, RB's in this, more middle of the state here, a little east of Pittsburgh. But for anybody coming from out of town, I'm putting Mike's room up for rent for the weekend of the draft. You could come and you could stay and cuddle with Mike for 2 days and 3 nights in a wake up for the draft for I don't know, some kind of money. We'll get you in there. Mike, what do you think?
Oh yeah, look at my lips just thinking about it.
Maybe yeah. Maybe that could be part of your victory package, RB. You could be in there as well. Cordman Tommy says, head to the Arc, RB, you'll get a prize, I promise.
You'll eventually get tired of them, but you'll get a prize.
Guys are great today. Thank you so much, everybody.
Fucking fire.
Mike, as I said, if you are in Pittsburgh, there's a lot going on this weekend, yet it's not the Pittsburgh Steelers. They come, next weekend. This week, Mike, you do have Pitt versus Duquesne at Acrisure Stadium. You have the Savannah Bananas on Friday and Saturday night over PNC Park, which I heard is amazing. It's putting a lot of asses in seats. And finally, Mike, Ribfest also this weekend. So, guys, a lot of things downtown. If you want to get down to Pittsburgh and get out a little bit this weekend to finish up your off season. Again, Mike, the NFL starts 1 week from today. That's right, 1 week from today, the season kicks off. The Steelers, of course, 9 days in, 1 wake up. So, guys, it's close. It's here. We're only a week away. I can't wait. I know everybody on the board. I know everybody at home is excited. Mike, anything before we do start ready to wrap it up today?
I got nothing.
Why don't you give RB something else from your stationary desk?
I got a pack of kids' safety scissors.
There you go. RB says RB says, I always wanted to go to the draft all my life, but I won't go anywhere near this year. 400,000 estimated crowd. You won't be able to get in and out of the city. I'm planning on packing Mike's room like a sardine can with out-of-towners. I'm going to make a killing. I'm going to make money hand over fist, Mike. And you know what? The only inconvenience is you have to sleep with 30 to 40 strangers. Hey, we all win.
How do I win?
RB says the NFL didn't do their homework on the shit roads around there. You know what?
Isn't that the fucking truth?
That's going to be the problem. No two ways about it.
There's going to be so many people thinking they're going to, I follow this road. It's over there, and not realizing that they make a left or right and then another right to go that way.
Complain about our road system. Can you imagine all the people coming from out of town dealing with our road system? And it's going to be
Dude, the people coming in from Green Tree going through or trying to get coming in from Green Tree going down the hill into the tunnel, they're going to freak the fuck out, not realizing they have to merge in 2 seconds. It's going to be great. I just want to go. I want to get a drone and just have it hover over and watch traffic and just watch and laugh.
So maybe that's maybe that'll be your reward. You could room with Mike, but again, I'm jam packing his room. I want it like sardines. So we're gonna make a killing, Mike.
We got weed, we got liquor, we got beer.
I just heard RB knocking at the door at the studio. Also, Cordman says me too, RB. I really want to go to it, but damn the people. Ain't that the truth?
We got lot lizards coming over. We got Cinnamon and her friends coming over.
But I do want to say thank you everybody for joining us today. We really do appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. I want to say thank you everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show, and everybody at home as well. Maybe listening on your ear pods, maybe at the gym, maybe even in the car. Guys, thank you to everybody. Mike, we will be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again. It's going to be the Friday installment of the show. Again, anything that happens between now and then with the Steelers, will be on top of it, keeping our eye on it. Is there going to be a new wide receiver on this team? Is there going to be other moves within Mike to get people available, to put people on the IR? All kind of things going on for this Pittsburgh Steelers team right now, guys. But the one thing that we do know for sure is in 9 days, in one wake up, we will be watching our Pittsburgh Steelers play in the opener against the Jets in New Jersey. So, guys, building our way to that point. We're here for it every day. We're going to, again, we dig constantly. We'll be trying to get the most accurate and up-to-date news for everybody. And again, we'll be back at our regular time tomorrow. So I hope everybody joins us for that as well. Mike, again, just a week from today kicks off the NFL season. This is what it's about, guys. This is what we live for, and we'll certainly be excited when next week comes around. I do want to say this: if you haven't had a chance yet, go check out our social media sites. We are on Facebook, we're on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even TikTok. Stop by, hit the follow button, and keep up with what the Steelers, with the Two Dumb Yinzers have to say about the Steelers on a day-to-day basis over any of those places. And also, if you haven't had a chance yet today, hit the like, hit the sub, and the share button down below. It helps us out greatly, and we appreciate it. Couple just real quick at the end here. Christopher, he picked the Colts, the Ravens, and Denver. It ended up being Denver, the Ravens, and the Jets. A lot of people went with the Colts, but that was the '96 Super Bowl win in the AFC Championship, and we went on to lose, of course, to Dallas. Was the correct answer. We thank you, Corbin and Tommy, and everybody else so much, guys. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with us and participating all day, all show long. Again, we will be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again, to head into the weekend. So we hope to see everybody then. Mike, anything else? Speak now, forever hold your peace before we wrap it up.
I got nothing, man. See y'all again tomorrow.
All right. We hope everybody has a great, safe Thursday. We'll be back at it tomorrow at our regular time. Again, we hope to see everybody then. For Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, for myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers, have a great Thursday, and we'll see you tomorrow.